Hello, and today we're going to talk about the best lighting that you can use for food photography. And realistically, most of the time I am using a beautiful side light, whether that is an artificial light coming in or whether it is sun coming in and mimicking the same thing with this light. The other way that I do light food as well is I backlight. The backlight has two different purposes. If it's up like this and we've got beautiful backlight coming through, it will illuminate liquid and lift things up and make them sing, which is beautiful. If we've got a flat lay on the floor and we've got the light coming in from the back, it gives a beautiful, soft, airy shadow to it. Whereas the side light will give us a little bit of shadow on this side. Now, shadow is good. Shadow is good in our food and drink photography. Shadow gives us shape, interest, texture. We love shadow. It just depends where you put that shadow, how much shadow you've got, how dark that shadow is, but shadow is great. So don't start getting rid of all the shadows. The shadows are what wrap around your food and give it texture, which is really, really good. So there is a lot out there on lighting, and food photography can look really bad or really good. And today I want to show you how to make it look really good. And we're going to put it through its paces with this cake here for you. So the first thing that we want to talk about today is that directional light. So I have mentioned to you about the side light for this particular set. If it was a nice drink or something airy that maybe I was using the natural light backlit for something airy, or I'd got my light back here as an artificial light for a drink, that's good. But for this setup, it needs to be the side light. Now, we photograph with the side light. It's going to give us some lovely texture and a very nice light cake. So we're going to test that in a minute, and then we're going to test a lighting feature that we shouldn't use so that we can see together how that is going to work and what the difference is between the two. So let's set this up with a beautiful side light. Now you may notice on this side here, I've got a bounce light, I've got a reflector. With a side light, you're going to have the shadow and you can choose how much shadow you have in your shot. If you want less shadow, you can put a reflector here to bounce the light back. You can put a little bit of white card here to bounce it back, silver, foil, anything you've got to bounce the light back in if the shadow is too harsh on this side. I know my light, so I know I've got a beautiful side light, and I'm going to bounce it back with this. And also on that note, don't use the gold side of your reflector, use the silver. We're always trying to cool our food down. Always is a bad thing to say. Most of the time, we're trying to cool our food down, not warm the food up. So let's have a look at this. We're going to share my screen with Lightroom, and we're going to take a picture of it in the right place to give us the look that we're looking for. I hope. Fingers crossed, hey peeps. Let's just move me out the way. Okay. Let's have a little look at that. What I'm paying particular attention to, it's a nice light white cake. It's a little bit bright here and we're starting to bleach around there. So I'm just going to take that picture again and I'm just going to change my settings. So at the moment, my shutter speed is on 200th of a second. My aperture is at 7.1 and my ISO is at 200. I'm just going to pop that aperture up to 8 and see if that gives me a little bit more of what I need. Because I don't want to show you something and then it's blown. We're almost there. I'm going to push that a tad further. That's just up at 9 now. Okay, so now we can see we've got the texture back there and nothing is happening back there. So first rule of thumb there is to ensure that you've got this in focus. So this shows you, even with the differences there, of how we can make that work. And can you see this shadow forming across here? That just shows me I haven't got enough bounce light, especially at the moment if I can't make the shot brighter because I'm going to blow the color. So there's two things really I can do here. I can move the food closer to the reflector, or I can move this light further away on this side. So I'm going to do a little bit of both. I'm going to just move that light back a little bit and see if it will let me take that back down to an aperture of 8. It has let me do it without bleaching it. Brilliant. But it's still a bit dark on this side. So now we need bounce in a little bit more light and see if that helps us on our lighting journey. Let's just have a little look. Okay, I've actually made it darker. Let's try putting something in a bit harsher. There we go. So look at the difference there. All we've done is added in that little bit of silver light so that I've got texture still, but I've not turned it into a dark side of things. That's the only thing I've done, other than move the light on this side slightly back so I don't lose the proportions on it. Okay, so there's one more thing I can do here. If I don't want to use a reflector, I can bring in a second light and light that side. So let me just stop sharing the screen for a minute to show you what I'm going to be doing. Many tabs open. Okay. So I'm just going to remove this out of the picture for a moment. And that. And I'm going to bring in a light. Okay, so instead of having the bounce light now, we've added in a second light. But if we add in two lights that are exactly the same, we're going to take all the shadow and shape out of the image. So we've got to come up with something different on the second side that is only going to light the bit that we want, which is this side of the cake. So let's just have a look at the difference with that. I haven't shared the screen. There we go. Okay, so if we have a look at this now, let's zoom in a little bit on there. We've definitely been able to add that light into this side, but we've lost a bit at the front. So we can keep positioning the light where we want it. We've just got to be very careful that we don't lose the shadow and shape. There we go. That's perfect. Now, if this was a bottle or something dark and you didn't want to light the front of it, we would light it from the back. And we would take our light round here. And we're going to give this a go, give it a roll, and see if we can get it bright enough here at the back. So I'm positioning it on here. And this, in portrait terms, would be a rim light. But we are doing the same with the cake. So if you want a slightly moodier shot where you're showing that shadow, this is perfect. So you can control what you do with this lighting to make it work for you. Now, there is one more light I'm going to add to that. But before I do, I promised you that I'm going to show you what it looks like lighting from the front in case you don't believe me. So I'm just going to move you guys back. And I'm going to put the light in the front. I feel pretty sick doing this, guys. It's got to be said. How close can I get? Just going to get rid of this light. Okay, this is the effect that we get when we front light. I'm hoping you can see the difference in how flat the lighting looks in comparison to this. Get a very different one-dimensional side of things. And I'm going to show you one more thing because I like to geek out on this stuff. I'm going to put a light either side so you can see why we can't have two lights the same on both sides. It's a very exciting moment for me, this. I love it. Oh, lovely. Please factor in my sarcasm there. Let's go back and check this out. Okay. So these are the ones with the side light that give us the control on what we want to do. This one here is with two lights. If we think it's a bit bright, we can make it darker. It's not going to make that much difference. everything is flat in this image. If we look at lighting from the front, we can see here, I'm going to move that one back because I'm not sure where that picture is. Let's go again. Let's see if we can make it really bad. I might have got the softbox in there. Just got the softbox in slightly. Okay, so when we look at these images here, these are lit from the front, not good on our food. When we go back to the side light, this is where we start to be able to see much more texture in the cake. We lose that texture in the cake when we light from the front. And if you can't see this to start with, that's okay. It takes a little bit of time to see the light. I'm going to show you one time also that we would light from the front, or I'm going to show you. Let me just stop this share for a minute. Okay, switch this light off here. So if we were working with a bottle, it is okay to light from the front with a snoot, where we would turn it round and we would directly put that light onto the label of the bottle. We want to illuminate that bottle. We could still have a second light behind that is illuminating the liquid. This one would be illuminating the label. And this one over here would be sorting out the actual lighting of the set itself. Now, we've got another way that we would use this, not just for a bottle, even though a bottle is a really key one here. What we're going to do now is we're going to take out a piece of cake from this lovely cake, and the snoot will be able to light the hole that the piece of cake has come out of. So yes, you could light it from the front if it was something as specific as filling a gap of something that is called, that has got big shadow on it, or if it is to light a bottle. So let's take a piece out of this cake and see what happens. Okay, so let's share the screen again, and we're going to take it with the snoot in that hole and with that snoot not in the hole. I don't think that was very technical, but I'm hoping you know what I mean. So I've cut a piece out of the cake. I've actually made it a bit easy for myself because I've cut quite a big piece out of the cake. And there are two ways to get more light into this cake. And I'm going to show you the first one with adding a third light at the front that will help you. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take a picture of the cake as is so we can see what we think to there. So as predicted, we've got a massive shadow in here, which isn't great. So I'm going to move it slightly around so we can see a bit from this side as well. Not that I think it makes a huge amount of difference. Okay, we've got a little less light, so that's one thing we can do. Now, if you want this to be super simple and you haven't got any other lights, there is a very simple fix to this. As long as your styling on the top will take it. You need to move your cake around to the light source, and then the light will get into the middle of the camera. So when you're styling, you're thinking of putting your cake where it's got an open cut, where it's going to have that shadow, you put it this way. If that's not possible and that's not what you can do, we're going to turn it round. I'm going to put the bounce light back in because I'm noticing on this one we've lost the light again on this side because I haven't put the bounce light back in. So let's do that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to shine the snoot straight into that piece that we've cut out. I can see that lifting it already. Beautiful. Right. So to start with, let me show you it without. So there is our dark piece of cake cut out. Bring that around slightly. Okay. Now we're going to add the snoot. Are we ready? There we go. So the difference we've got here is with that snoot, it fills in that gap that we've got in between. And that's where we can use a second or a third light. If you haven't got a second or third light, turn your cake, turn whatever it is that you've got towards the light and what you're styling, and style it to be put on that side. So when we look at this here, it just shows us how dark that piece of cake could be if we leave it as is, but we need to add something in. Now, again, if you haven't got another light, you can bounce in a reflector, you can bounce in some foil, you can bounce in with a mirror. So you need to decide, is it that you need another light, or do you need something that will bounce back in? These images here were when we lit from the front and we made our food very stark. And then we went back to that side light where we got the beautiful texture in that food. And we can see that. We can see every little bit in that food. Might need tidying up a bit, needs a bit more there. I'm not going to worry about that right now because that's what we want to see. We don't see it in the same way with this light. It's just stark. It's just blasted with light. And that is not what we want to see to get a good photo of our food or drink. It's not doing it any favors. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you an idea of how you use the directional light, how you use one light, two lights, three lights, how you bounce light, how you add in a snoot, how you maybe even use some foil, and why we don't light from the front. No, don't light from the front. What I'm now going to do is the continuation for the next food photography show is talk to you about the difference of artificial lighting and natural lighting. I'm not going to go into that today. So if you are waiting for that to come up, that's next week. If you're watching this back, please do go and search for artificial versus natural lighting. Same setup. We're going to start here and then we're going to move the whole set onto the natural set and just have a look at the two together. All right. Thanks for listening today and speak to you soon.